Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing yet another movie review. This movie is a horror film from the United States, English language, released in the year 2021, directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and this film is called Old. So Old is about a family going to a very beautiful resort to escape the pressures of everyday life. They've also got a few family issues that they want to address, so this is the ideal time to do it. So when they arrive at the resort, they can't believe the beauty that befalls them, but then they're told by the head of the resort that there is a secret location in the island that holds a private beach. So the family agreed to go there, and this is an ideal way to spend the first day, but when they arrive they realise it's not so private because other people have been invited as well. But what everyone doesn't realise is that they were invited for a very sinister reason, and that reason concerns a time that goes by at a horrifying rate. So the family realised that in order to prevent themselves from dying of old age within such a short space of time, they're going to have to leave this part of the island and find out what is going on. So whether or not they can is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Old. I was very excited to see this film. Now I'm a massive fan of M. Night Shyamalan, and he's definitely a director that needs to be within the Hollywood mainstream world. It's because he's a different director. He's a director that splits public opinion. So not a lot of directors dare to do this. It's all about Marvel comics, it's all about sequels or remakes, and there's not a lot of creativity. But when it comes to M. Night Shyamalan, he is definitely that ticket out of the tired, repetitive nature that is mainstream Hollywood. And so he has his own style, he has his own creativity, and he makes movies based on genuine love for filmmaking. And so that's the reason why I like this guy. He's courageous enough to be different, and we all know that difference in the mainstream Hollywood world is a very dangerous thing. So I definitely think the negativity he gets is somewhat warranted, but there's a lot of bandwagon negativity as well, is that a lot of people would jump onto what is the in thing, and the in thing is to pan everything that M. Night Shyamalan does. So ever since he made The Sixth Sense, he's gone on to make other films that haven't really reached those heights, and I believe that a lot of people expect him to with each and every experience, but they're experiences that are different from each other. He possesses his own trademark style, but it's very different from each experience, and that's something that I love. He's not afraid to put his neck out on the line. If something doesn't work, then he takes that upon himself and he works on it for his next experience, and he's trying to correct the wrongs that he made from previous attempts, but he's not afraid to keep that style, and that's something that I always appreciated about him, and that's the reason why I'm such a fan. So the expectation levels were very high for Old. I knew that this is going to be an experience because of the fact a lot of people liked it and disliked it. So I was wondering what I was going to get with this experience, and what I got with Old was the typical M. Night Shyamalan trademark style, is creating a very tense and horrifying atmosphere, and the overall situation that these people are facing. Initially, you can disconnect yourself from it, from being a sort of a paranormal film, but then the reveal keeps you grounded in realism, and it can actually make you think about how we do things as a society. And so there is a strong purpose to the silliness that this movie possesses, which is something that I really liked about Old. But unfortunately, it does possess a glaring negative that I finally realised what I don't like about M. Night Shyamalan films, which is something I'll go into a little bit later. But what I liked about Old, as I said, was the concept, the world building, what is going on. The level of mystery keeps you sustained as far as interest is concerned. And although some things might happen that might be a little bit silly, you can push that aside because you know that there is a purpose for everything that is going on. And so when the reveal happens, I thought the reveal capped off the silliness to some degree, and it actually makes you think about what we actually do in real life. I'm not going to give anything away, but I thought as though the purpose to the movie and the concept of the film was fascinating, and so its captivating quality is what keeps you watching, and that's hard to do. And as far as a lower tension mainstream Hollywood sort of approach, a lot of people want to see fireworks and explosions, but this movie doesn't have that. It just keeps you grounded in the concept, and I thought as though that concept was executed in a way that was very quirky, very typical of M. Night Shyamalan. Thought the camera work was very unusual, that keeps you very disorientating quality, and the secret behind this beach and the horrifying way that these people age, I thought was fantastic. There were a few scenes that were very, very horrific to watch, but it's not excessive in its gore. It's not trying to shock you just for what you see. It's the implication of what's going on and the implication of what you would do in a similar set of circumstances. And so the overall idea I thought was fantastic, and that was what kept me glued to the screen, and that is what I thought, why I thought as though this movie wasn't terrible. But unfortunately, the reason why this movie wasn't very good was the one reason why I believe that the later efforts of M. Night Shyamalan haven't been great. And that one reason is that I believe that he's not as good a writer as he is a director, in that the characters in this movie were very odd, very off-putting. Now, I like quirkiness, but this is quirkiness pushed to the extreme, to the extent where I become very irritated, especially the young character. He says some things that I just wanted to punch him in the head. I thought the actors, the caliber of acting, I thought wasn't able to shine because the script wouldn't allow these characters to develop in a very interesting way. You've got Gael Garcia Bernal, who's a fantastic actor. I thought his character was forgettable. Abby Lee of Australia plays a very good-looking character, but once again, very forgettable. And you've also got Rufus Sewell, who plays the most interesting character, but again, there were aspects of these characters that were very goofy, very cringeworthy, and I thought as though the cheesiness to the film really doesn't allow you to enjoy it as much as you really should. So the overall camera aspect and the world creating wasn't complemented by a very tight script, and I just don't think M. Night Shyamalan is a great writer. And so, movies such as The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, they were all fantastically written, but his more criticised films, I believe that it's the script that really lets them down, especially The Happening. I actually enjoyed The Happening. I'm one of the few people who actually enjoyed The Happening, but I can understand the criticism is that Mark Wahlberg's character especially, he delivers some lines that were just cringeworthy, and so I don't think the script, it wants to be a little bit too different, it wants to be a little bit too quirky, maybe trying to push itself too far outside the boundaries of normality, and it just doesn't quite work. And so when M. Night Shyamalan is more grounded in his script writing, I believe that they're the best experiences, but I didn't really gravitate to these characters. I didn't care what happened to these characters, and as a result of that, I felt as though there was a large portion of this movie that was very distracting in an irritating way. So as I said, the overall positives slightly outweigh the negatives, but unfortunately overall I was left a little bit disappointed because with a little bit more polish on the script it could have been a fantastic experience because the idea was fantastic, but I just don't feel as though it was realised to its full potential. So overall for Old, if you are a fan of M. Night Shyamalan, definitely go out there and see it. It has its moments, but unfortunately it's let down by the negatives that unfortunately become very noticeable. So overall for Old, I'm going to give this one 2.5 stars. Still go out there and see it, especially if you are a fan. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies and I'll see you later. Bye.